morning, dear friends. You're at Azra Bazaz's Knowledge Corner, and today we are studying nationalism in Europe, and the topic is Revolution of the Liberals. As you will see that the Revolution of the Liberals on 18th May 1848, nearly 831 elected representatives, they marched in a festive procession to take their places in the Frankfurt Parliament. Who were these elected representatives? They were the middle class professionals, bankers, small time businessmen, all these people who used to pay taxes to the aristocracy. And these were the people who gave a written constitution to the king Friedrich Wilhelm, the king of Prussia. Now, what was this constitution? Why was it so important? The constitution said that the monarch, if he had to take any decision, he was subject to the parliament. Meaning, what does subject to the parliament mean? Subject to the parliament means he could not take decisions on his own. He had to take the the uh, approval of the parliament. So, but then when this constitution was given, Friedrich Wilhelm, the king of Prussia, he rejected it, and he joined the other conservatives, that is the monarchs of the other countries, to oppose the assembly. Now, this assembly was unique. The aristocracy and military was becoming stronger, and the opposition was against them becoming stronger over. The middle class consisted of the professionals, the lawyers, doctors, teachers, but they also consisted of workers and artisans who were not so educated, who were dependent on these educated middle class to put forward their demands. Now, when the educated middle class did not take up the demands of these workers and artisans, so in among the middle class itself there was losing of support. Matlab, these educated middle class, they lost the support of the workers and the artisans, and the assembly was in so much of confusion. At last the troops had to be called in, and this whole assembly was a failure. This whole assembly was a failure. So, and but then what to do? There are always ups and downs in the road to democracy. Now comes the question of the women. Women had always led the revolution because, in one way or the other, their ideas, their wills were always suppressed. See, if a woman would belong to the aristocracy, she would be highly educated and all, but she could not take any decisions of her own. She was dependent before marriage on her father or brother, and after marriage on her husband. In the lower strata of the society, she would add to the finances of the household. She used to work as ladies in waiting, meaning for the aristocratic ladies, working as servants there, or working as selling fruits and vegetables on the street corners, or working as seamstresses and all that. But when it came to giving of rights to the women, never. There was never. They were always denied the suffrage rights. What is that? Voting rights. And but the women, they were those. The women were never ready to be pushed to the back seat. They had formed their own political associations. They printed their articles in the newspapers and all that. And but then, when the Frankfurt Parliament was called up, you see the irony of the fact is, the Frankfurt Parliament, the allegory is a woman. Germania is the women. But then when it came to seating arrangements, you will see that in the foreground, you will see that in the foreground, all the people of aristocracy are seated. But then on this side, the workers and the artisans, the people of the middle class are seated. And on this side, it is the women who are seated. And why? Because see, why am I impressing on the fact on the seating arrangements is, in those times there were no loudspeakers. So you can imagine, in the people, so many people sitting, when the people in the foreground, they can listen to what the speaker is speaking. And above the noise, do you think that these people could hear? No, certainly not. That's the reason they were kept there. so that when the voting came, there would be a confusion on the balcony. Understand? This, see, though the conservative forces were able to suppress the liberal movements, but then the old order was lost forever. Now the people were more adamant that they had to bring in democracy or a government by consent meaning they a government in which they had a say. Now, when all these upheavals were coming up, the autocratic monarchies of Central and Eastern Europe began to introduce changes that had already taken place in Western Europe, meaning serfdom, bonded labor that all was getting abolished, and the Hungarians they were given autonomy, meaning they had their freedom, they could decide on their own. Now, the Habsburgs rulers, they had always ruled over Hungary. Now, Austria and Hungary, now the Hungarians, they started getting their own freedom. Now comes the main question, why we are studying the making of Germany and Italy. The making of Germany and Italy is very important in the history of the world because they laid the foundation for the changes that happened in the world. Now, see, making of Germany. As if we have discussed that romantic imagination, how the German folk tales and this one, Johann Gottfried, what he said about the common German folk. So, a German nation was being forged, meaning the people who spoke German, they were feeling that, yes, we belong to a single nation. But then, fragments of Germany or pieces of Germany were with different kings. So, and the that's the reason the king of Prussia took up the work of uniting Germany. Otto von Bismarck, he is the main person for the unification of Germany. 7 wars over a period, matlab 3 wars over a period of 7 years with Austria, Denmark, and France, meaning pieces of Germany were with these countries, brought about a unification of Germany. Okay, Germany was now unified. So what's so great about it? But then the rebuilding process, meaning the banking, the legal system, the currency, the judicial systems were all done on modern lines. And it became a model for the rest of the world to follow. And you'll see that Germany soon became, in a very fast pace, in a very short time, it became one of the most industrialized nations, creating a competition for England, France, and for USA also. That's the reason we are studying the unification of Germany. Now, chalo, Germany, we had language, we had what to say, culture, we had tradition, we had folk tales. But what about Italy? There was nothing there. There was no language. Even Italian language also was not being spoken by the aristocracy. They spoke French, they did not speak Italian. But then it took the king of a small island, Sardinia, Piedmont, King Victor Emmanuel, a king of a small area that is Sardinia, Piedmont. He, the responsibility fell on his shoulders that he had to bring about the unification of Italy. Mazzini had tried to bring about a unification of Italy, but as we have studied previously, he formed a secret society called Young Italy for realizing his goals. But then when Victor Emmanuel took up the cause of it unifying the Italian states, he had to do it through war. And his chief minister, Cavour, who led the movement to unify the regions, he was neither a revolutionary nor a democrat, but he did not speak Italian also, but he did not even, he spoke French, but through diplomatic alliance, he saw to it that Italy would be unified. And Sardinia Piedmont succeeded in defeating the Austrian forces. Garibaldi also joined the fray. Matlab, all these people are responsible for the unification of Italy. See, you will see the unification. See how Italy was a fragment of nations, and here it has been unified. And see, the irony of the fact is, Italy, the people of Italy, when the country was named La Italia, they thought that it is the name of the emperor's wife. Matlab, that much Italy was not united. People were, matlab, they did not even know that they belonged to the land of Italy. Chalo, Germany through war, Italy through war. But what about Britain? Britain was a strange case itself. Britain was a matlab, prior to 18th century, Great Britain did not exist. There were four islands: English, Welsh, Scots, and Irish. But the English island, it became more prosperous and became more rich at a very fast rate. And it was able to impose its will on the other islands, like on Welsh and Scots. For example, the Scots, the treaty between England and Scotland resulted in the formation of United Kingdom, so much so that the people of Scotland had to give up their language, their way of dressing, their unique identity. But the people of Ireland did not want this. They did not want to give up their unique identity and all that. But Ireland was divided between Catholics and Protestants, and the English monarchy was Protestant. So encouraged, the English monarchy had the support of the Protestants of Ireland, and ultimately in 1788, when Ulfi Tone and his United Irishmen were defeated, Ireland was forcibly incorporated, and the Union Jack became the flag of the United Kingdom. Now you know the meaning of the name United Kingdom. Samjhe? And it became Great Britain. God Save Our Noble King became the national anthem, and English language became the language of Great Britain. Same thing about Kashmir also. Kashmir came into being by the Treaty of Amritsar on March 16th, 1846. But the Dogra Maharaja Gulab Singh and his successor Maharaja Ranbir Singh, they, through diplomacy, through war, they brought about the formation of Jammu and Kashmir. Maharaja Gulab Singh, he started a vigorous policy of expansion and consolidation. What is expansion? Meaning through war. Consolidation meaning making it firm, meaning that area belonged to Jammu and Kashmir. Under his General Zorawar Singh, Ladakh was conquered, Baltistan, Tibet, all were brought into the area of Jammu and Kashmir. While Gulab Singh was able to lay the foundation for the state, Gilgit, matlab, all these areas were brought through war, but the following Maharajas were able to consolidate through proper administration and consolidation. Now, what is a allegory? The question comes here, what is a allegory? Alexi, as I told you, in those times people were not educated, not illiterate. So through paintings, through drawings, people could be, the message would be passed on. So allegory, basically, say, as the new word says, allegory, it's an abstract idea, meaning the the idea of a nation, meaning it is depicted through a picture. Now see, we'll go to this picture. It is the picture of the allegory of France. Now the allegory has been named Marianne. Why Marianne? Because most of the girls in France, their name was Marianne. So matlab, they would feel, yes, this is our nation. The feeling would come, the sense of nationalism would come about, ki bhai, this is our country. And in order to push forward the idea, the statues of Marianne were erected in more prominent places, on the stamps, on the coins, and all that, so that the attributes of liberty, Matlab, in France, you know, the attributes of liberty were red cap, the broken chain. You have studied all in ninth standard. So this name became more uh, prominent because it was the name of the common people of France. And then the red cap, the tricolor, the cockade, all these became the symbols of a nation. Same thing, Germania. Germania was the allegory of Germany. Now, how they have depicted Germania? You see here the picture of Germania. She is carrying a tricolor flag, the flag of Germany. She is wearing a crown of oak leaves, meaning oak leaves depicts heroism in Germany. She is carrying a sword with a olive branch, meaning she's ready to fight, but olive branch means peace. So she's ready for peace. She is the breastplate is the symbol of the royal family of Germany. The rising sun, meaning a new era. Rising sun meaning a new beginning is being made. And the broken chains at her feet show that she is the people of Germany are free. See how through a painting the message is being depicted. Now, what is this? The fallen Germania. What does it depict? Why is it she's fallen down? Why is she so weeping? Why is she so sad? It is through this picture the people are being informed the failure of the Frankfurt Parliament. See how they have depicted it. The image of the fallen Germania. See here this picture of Germania. River Rhine. Germania guarding the river Rhine. Rhine was the most important river of Germany, and she is guarding it. And on the sword, it has been written, the German sword protects the German Rhine, impressing on the fact that she's ready for war and peace. But when times come, she's ready to take up the sword also. Now, imperialism. What exactly is imperialism? You all we have studied in 8th standard and all how India was ruled by the British and all that, isn't it? So, same thing. See, Balkans is the area surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. It was rich because that is where the trading used to happen. From India and China, the traders used to go taking spices, muslin, indigo, and all that, China, tea, and all that. And from Europe, the traders used to come and there used to be an exchange of goods. So naturally, the Balkan area was very rich because spending and purchasing and spending of money was being done. So, Balkans today, if you see, we have small islands like Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece, Macedonia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Slovenia, Serbia, and Montenegro. Basically, they are known as Slavs. And as Greece demanded its independence, the rest of Balkans also started gaining its independence. Now, they were like young democracies, but they did not stop there. Their quest for taking over other person's land, other areas, led to hostilities in that area. Naturally, they had got their independence, but now they were in the quest ki bhai Serbia wanted to take up Albania. Now, all these areas, matlab, it made the area of Balkan very vulnerable. Already economically it was prosperous, but politically it was vulnerable. The countries of Europe were waiting for a chance to take over Balkans. On one side we had Germany, on the other side we had Russia, France, and Britain. On one side we had Germany, Italy, and again Ottoman Turkey did not want to lie low. It wanted to retake over Balkans. Now what happened was Serbia wanted to take over Albania, but Austria-Hungary stopped it. Austria-Hungary, they helped Albania to retain their independence. Now Serbia was very furious. So when the crown prince of Austria-Hungary came on a visit to Serbia, he and his wife were assassinated. Austria and Hungary demanded that Serbia hand over the assassin. Serbia said, we are not, when we have no say in the matter, why should we hand over the assassin? And naturally, on July 28, 1914, the most important hostility of the world started. That is the First World War. Because of the treaties signed, almost all the countries of the world were pulled into the war. And you know, rest is history. As we say, rest is history. Now we come to the most important thing, that is the British Empire. You see, this is Britannia, the allegory of Britain. And on she's sitting on the world. See, Britain used to always say, the sun never sets on the British Empire. See, this is what is being depicted. But what about these people? Who are these? These are the people of the colonies being depicted as slaves, uneducated, uncivilized, and they are Britain used to always say it is the white man's duty to tame the slaves. See how the people of colonies have been depicted as the people of the white man has to educate them, civilize them. Halanki, the people of the colonies said that we had greater empires than Britain. What is Britain trying to say? Same thing in India also. We have a allegory. We call her as Bharat Mata. And in Kashmir, we have Kashmiriyat. What is Kashmiriyat? Kashmiriyat is a feeling of culture, the depicting of culture, tradition of Kashmir, the language, the habits, the food habits, all of Kashmir, which is depicted through Kashmiriyat. I hope my friends, you have understood the lesson nationalism in Europe.